All right. Hey there, I'm Dan Haggerty, and this is the time where we go in depth, as we do sometimes here at 7 o'clock. We spend a little bit more time discussing important issues that don't always have clear answers. Last night, I got a lot of great responses from all of you at home following a segment on the ongoing book bans at our middle schools and high schools. And as always, I want to hear your thoughts on all of the topics we discuss. That's how we drive these conversations forward. So please email me at dan@WRAL.com. You can also find me on social media. Just search for Dan Haggerty. I'm the one who isn't Grizzly Adams. So last night, we talked about some records requests that we made here at WRAL to school districts all across our area to learn how many books have been removed from our schools over the last 2 years. And it's a lot. For instance, just in Cumberland County, they've removed more than 100 books since October, and most of those books involve dealings and topics like race, gender, and sexuality, which are the hot button topics of the day. Dee wrote me and said, "Do you want a book to tell your child what gender they should be?" Now, I hear this argument a lot. Maybe you do too. This fear that students will be confused about their gender if they read a book that has a transgender character or storyline. And when I hear this argument, I always just ask the person, would that apply to them? If you read a book with a transgender protagonist when you were 13, is that what it would have taken to turn your life upside down? Would you be unsure of your gender today or convinced you were an opposite gender because of that book that you read when you were 13? Or do you think you are who you are, and no matter what you read when you were 13, you wouldn't be convinced that you are a different gender because of the book? I'm trying to understand the argument when we follow up on these emails in more in depth next week, like this one I got from Chris. He said, "This one's easy, Dan. Take the book that mom's groups said was pornography and just show the parts on your news segment that were controversial. If you can't show it, it doesn't belong in a children's library." What are your thoughts on that comment from Chris? I have a bunch, but I do want to organize my thoughts before going a bit deeper into it. That said, are you sure you want the local news to be the barometer of what we allow in middle schools? Have you seen the news? But it is an interesting point, Chris. Thanks for the email. And lastly, here's an email we got from Robin, who is a retired school librarian who explained the selection process for books, saying school librarians in North Carolina are trained in collection development and have selection policies for what is included in their collections. School librarians read reviews, they attend conferences where we meet and talk with authors and publishers. Now, to this, I spoke to a law professor about the differences between librarians choosing not to display a book and a school board removing a book once it's already on the shelves. It's something that the Supreme Court has considered and discussed. Hopefully, you will join in on this discussion as well. This segment is only as strong as your curiosity and your willingness to discuss these difficult topics. So please, keep coming. Keep emailing me. Send those emails to dan@WRAL.com. Tell me what's on your mind, and we'll go in depth.